Okay, so today we'll cover one of the very important concepts of workflows. Okay, most of our work surrounds around creation of workflows and using the current existing workflows and so on. Okay, with workflows you'll also have to visit concepts of rules and all. Okay, but again, rules is a big concept in itself. Okay, so I would like to pick the concept of rules some other day. But since we are visiting workflows, we will be coming across rules somewhere or the other. Okay. So what are workflows? Where do you define them? So if you go to define option, there is something called as business processes. What is a business process? Business process means something, a sequence of events or sequence of methods or sequence of certain, when you take a Java application, inside a Java application, what is a business process? Like if you have a Java application to book an online flight or something, okay? So you have a website where you can go and you can do a lot of things. Book a flight, or book a two-way flight, or cancel a flight, or register yourself. So all these specific functionalities are called as business process. They have got something to do with the business. That's why they are called as business process. So here we are defining business process. That itself tells you that they are workflows are of high importance. You are actually defining the various different processes inside a business. Okay, if you go to business process, on the left side you will see an existing processes. On the existing process, you can see there is identity update, identity request violation review. Some of them which you would understand, some of them which you might not understand, like LCM create and update. LCM means lifecycle manager, which you have not seen again. LCM is used for creating and updating or deleting, identities. That means users. So there are a lot of processes already defined that come with the installation of IAQ. Okay, so each of these processes are already there, but if you want, you can define something new using this particular option of defining a new process. Okay, you give it a certain name and say okay, and then select what is it based on. Okay, what you are doing here is basically just creating a new process based on some existing process. As you can see here, edit an existing process it says, but when you select any of them, you'll actually see you are only defining a name, okay, and that name is dependent on some of the types that are already there. So these are the actual workflows that are being defined and given it to you by IAQ installation itself. Okay. So these workflows, how do you use them, or how do you know the meaning of these things, is what we are going to see today. Okay. So you have these workflows and you define them. Where do you define them? How do you define them? Various different things are what you're going to see today. So the workflow is basically an XML file or a Java code, okay, or a combination of both. Okay. Ideally, it is a combination of both, but it can be just one of them as well. Okay, a simple XML file which basically tells you the sequence of steps, and the second thing is it can be a call to a simple method as well. Okay, if you take any of these workflows like identity update, okay, you'll see that it is of the type identity update. From the name itself, you can understand that it is used for updating an identity. Okay, if you go to the process variables tab that is there, you will see, go to advanced view, you will see various different variables that are there. So what are these variables? You have a process, business process that begins, and from the name of it, it looks like it is an update to a entity. Fine. What does each individual variable mean? Okay, there is a variable called as trace. Okay, what is it used for? It is used for debugging this workflow, and when set to true, will be set to send to std out. Okay, that means this trace has something to do with logging, right? So this value is not set anywhere. Okay, we can set it to some value. Okay, you can say that here it is set to false by default. You can make it to true then as it is suggested here, it is basically going to log extensively. Okay, so this is just like our logging level that we use inside our applications. Okay, so this trace is for that particular purpose. So next you have some optimistic provisioning, foreground provisioning and all. These are some basic parameters that needs to be sent. Other than that, you can see there's something called as identity name. Something called as identity name. As you can see, this is an input parameter to this workflow and it is definitely required. Okay, it is definitely required. So someone is passing this value while it is being called. There is no initial value set up to it. Okay, there is no initializing value to it. You are only just passing a certain value to this particular identity name. So whoever is calling this identity update workflow, it is their responsibility to pass this value. Otherwise, they cannot proceed forward. In the same way, there are a lot of other values also. Something called as plan, which is again a required value. There is something called as session owner, okay, which is not a required value. And for everything, you have defined, there is a description and so on. Okay, as I said, these are something that come with the installation of IIQ, and these are the basic workflows. And everything that happens inside IIQ happens because of workflows only. Okay, all the process that exists inside your IIQ happens because of your workflows and workflows alone. That means you create an identity that is a workflow that gets triggered. Okay, you remove an identity that is a workflow that gets triggered. Some are small workflows which you are not, given access to edit, and some are huge workflows which are exposed for us to use, like these ones over here, like identity update, identity refresh, and all these things. Okay, identity correlation, entity monitor. Most of these concepts we have not seen what they are, so these workflows wouldn't make any meaning. But when we actually finish the whole definitions, like provisioning is one of the concepts which we have not covered. So when we do provisioning, you would understand what is this workflow exactly doing. Okay. So that is what input variables, the process variables are about. There are input variables, output variables, some constants, some references, and so on. Over here, you can declare this particular variable. Okay, here my identity name is coming from what is coming. Yes, somebody has to pass it. Okay, but you can make them as a string, as I've seen earlier in one of the initial variables. Okay, trace. Okay, it is not coming from anywhere. It is not an input. It is not output. It is not editable. Nothing is mentioned here whether it is editable or not. But you can see that it is being the initial value is given as string and the value is made to false. That means you can come here and override it to true to actually change it so that your tracing has been done. But there is something called as reference. What is this reference? This reference is as I said, this workflow. This whole workflow is an XML document. Okay, you will find when you create this workflow, it transforms into an XML document. And inside this XML document, you can also have Java code. So it is basically a combination of XML and Java code, ideal. Okay, so this XML document has various different stages. What are those stages? We will see in the process designer. We'll actually see how it looks. Okay, pictorially, the representation of workflow. Okay, there will be various different stages. For example, identity update. So what are the different stages that are there in identity update? First, update inside the identity active database. Then send a request to the Active Directory or somewhere, some application inside which this this particular identity is actually stored. Update there, application 1, application 2, application 3. Update all these things and finally finish or commit the changes. That might be ideally the sequence of steps inside your workflow, identity update workflow. Somewhere you have defined initially a variable. Okay, I have variable X, saying that this has some temporary value that is needed for this particular workflow instance or something like that. You have defined them. Once you define them there, you want to reuse them at multiple different levels. How do you go about using them? The way to reuse them is basically how you define a reference. Okay, reference means a variable which has already been defined. I want to use that variable value to assign it to this particular variable. That is what is reference. Script, rule, and call method. Call method is basically calling a Java method. Okay, when you select this, you will get all the default methods that are being already defined inside the API. Okay, get manager, get object also. Where are these? They are already defined inside INT-IQ installation, and they are exposed. So that is the reason why you are able to see this.